Hello, welcome to the Learning Curve. I'm Marjorie Began. Alzheimer's and dementia are conditions that elicit fear and concern among our population. Joining me today to speak on this subject is Jennifer Hoadley from the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
What is your position with the Alzheimer's Association?
My position is the regional manager for Southeastern Massachusetts. With that, I do a lot of work with families, family services, and our programs and services.
That's a large area to cover.
It sure is.
Well, we were talking about dementia and Alzheimer's eliciting fear in people. Can we talk a little bit about that and what the difference is between Alzheimer's and dementia?
Sure. So dementia, I like to think of as this umbrella term, and really it's talking about the symptoms that are involved. So, it's a cognitive decline. There are some other symptoms that come along with it. Communication can be affected. Alzheimer's is one type of dementia. Often people will go to the doctor's office and they leave and they tell us that they have this diagnosis of dementia, which is really just an acknowledgement of the symptoms. I encourage people to push a little further and find out what's causing those symptoms, mainly because you want to know what you're dealing with any type of illness. So I find that if they are exhibiting these symptoms of dementia, we want to know, is it Alzheimer's disease? If it is Alzheimer's disease, we can help with planning ahead, but sometimes it's not Alzheimer's disease, and this is why I encourage people to get to the doctor, because not only can they plan ahead, but they may also want to know what might be something that they can do to reverse symptoms. With Alzheimer's disease, it's not a reversible type of disease, but if the symptoms of dementia were coming on because somebody had a vitamin deficiency or depression, a thyroid condition that wasn't being managed, there are a lot of other reasons why somebody might experience those symptoms. So if they don't get checked out, they don't know what they're dealing with. If they do get checked out and it is something that they can reverse, that's wonderful. If it's not, and it's something like Alzheimer's disease or a vascular type dementia, then that's where we would come in to help them with finding the right resources for them.
So people should not be afraid if they're thinking, oh my goodness, I have forgotten this, or oh, I can't remember names or whatever. There are warning signs. Maybe you can go over some of the warning signs.
Sure. So there are, as we age, there are things that we can't do that we used to be able to. I always tell people, I used to be able to do a cartwheel. I can't do a cartwheel anymore. I wouldn't even try. There are things that our bodies physically can't do anymore. The same thing happens with our brain. We do slow down. They actually have shown that our brain does shrink a little bit. When somebody has Alzheimer's disease, the symptoms are much greater. So somebody that has Alzheimer's disease in the late stage, severe Alzheimer's, their brain has been affected quite a bit. Their brain actually weighs about 1 pound, whereas somebody with a healthy brain, it weighs about 3 pounds. So there's a lot of mass that's lost. Now, due to the changes that are happening in the brain, there are a lot of symptoms that come with that. Changes in communication, whether that's being able to make your needs known and also understand others. There are other, we may forget things here and there. That's normal aging. I use sticky notes like crazy. They're all over my desk. That's fine. That's not a big deal. But if I looked at those sticky notes that I had written myself and none of them made sense to me and I couldn't remember what I was talking about on those sticky notes, that's a problem. Sometimes we'll go to a busy shopping mall and we'll park and go, where did I park my car? That's normal. But I do find, somebody who maybe has more going on, they may come out of the shopping mall and, not remember how they got there or what kind of car they drive or how to start the car. So there are, more severe issues that come into play. with communication and memory, also decision making, behavior and kind of how somebody normally acts. As we age, we may get kind of set in our ways and like to do things a certain way. And we might get a little irritated if we don't see that they go that way. And that's normal. However, somebody who cannot change their course because it's just that's what's happening in their brain and it doesn't allow them, that's a problem to be checked out. And I do urge people to talk to your doctor, even if there is nothing going on, just so that they can get a baseline on how you typically are. Some doctors will do just kind of a general mini mental status exam as people age, just to get a baseline. And I encourage people to ask for that because it's important for your doctor to know what's going on with you.
Yeah, probably the worst thing is not to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is that fear in your mind that, oh, it may be, oh, it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, it could be a condition that is a mixture of medications or just natural aging or whatever, but it could be something
Mm-hmm.
more serious. So not to do something about it, not to go to a doctor. Now, have there been times where someone has gone to their doctor and the condition hasn't been caught, you might say?
Yeah, I think the doctors on average have about 8 minutes to spend. This is your primary care physician. They're busy. They have to get to the next patient, especially if this is a new to you doctor. They don't know your history always. So sometimes things can be lost. At times, the person living with the disease is not always aware that something's happening. Everybody else around them may see some of the symptoms, but they're not really feeling like there's much of an issue. So when they go to the doctor's office, the doctor may say, how are you doing? How are things going? And they say they're fine. So then they move on and wait another year to see them. I do urge people, if you do see any of the signs or if you're concerned even a little bit, to talk about that and make sure the doctor knows those concerns. Whether that's you as a loved one, a family member that you want to make sure that doctor knows, you can go. Hopefully the person will allow you to go to the appointment with them to discuss what's going on. I think it's so important to be inclusive and not have to live with these symptoms alone. There is help, and it's important to get that help. People can live very full lives if they have the proper support in place.
And I think support groups are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Family members, friends that understand. Now the Alzheimer's Association, they can help family and friends understand what to do, whether dementia or Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yes,
true?
Yes. So we are often, people will say, well, it's not Alzheimer's disease. It doesn't matter if it's a diagnosed Alzheimer's disease or if there's just some symptoms there or question of symptoms. We are there to help anybody that is experiencing some trouble with memory loss and the other symptoms that come along with that.
I know my own father was diagnosed with dementia. Dementia with Alzheimer's characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
was it? At first, when we got the diagnosis, both my mother and I sat there and didn't know what to do, and someone had said, call the Alzheimer's Association, and I must admit, they were wonderful. They answered questions. They said, now you might want to start thinking of doing this or doing this, saying this to your doctor, and I knew that they were there 24 hours a day, to answer a question, to be supportive. I can't say enough about it as, my own personal life and experiences that I had with dementia. Now, dementia, and Alzheimer's, we always think of in an older population,
Mm-hmm.
but that isn't always true, is it?
It's not. We are seeing more and more people that are younger being diagnosed. A younger onset is, it, people could be in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, early 60s. I don't think it's something that people think is a typical happening, but it does happen. I find that people living with a younger onset of Alzheimer's disease, the symptoms often are the same, but the things that they have to manage are typically different. There are sometimes people that have young children that, they're trying to help them with their homework, and that's difficult to try to manage, or get them to soccer games and, after school activities. So it does become very difficult in terms of the problems that they face because it is a little different in terms of the age. And I think also for a very long time, and I think it's starting to change, people just expected that this is what happens when you get older, and that's not true. Just because you're getting older, like I said before, yes, we may slow down a little bit, but the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease or some other related dementia are very different than just slowing down and taking a little while longer to find the right word or remember somebody's name. That's very different than having Alzheimer's or a related dementia. So I think people accept it a little more when it's the older population, because for so long this is something that people just said, well, this is what happens. And I do think doctors are getting much better about knowing what to look for, so that they are finding it more in younger people.
Mm. Now, the Alzheimer's Association, for younger people, as you mentioned, that may have children and family obligations, can you help?
We can, yes. We have several programs, support groups. We have a new program that we're rolling out called Alz Eats, and it's for mainly the families and the children that are living with somebody who's younger that has this. So anybody that's 18 and under, they can go and have dinner with a group of other people that are going through the same thing. So it's really important for them to feel connected to that community, because it isn't something that happens super often. So it's likely that most of these younger kids don't have a friend who knows what this is like, to have a parent living with the disease. So it's important to get people connected to other people going through what they're going through as well. People can find out more about that Alz Eats on our website at alz.org.
Oh, that's great. That's something you just don't think of, Now, there is much research going on, and I know much of the fundraising that goes on for the Alzheimer's Association is for research. Is there anything hopeful coming on the horizon?
There is. There's a lot of research, and we are lucky to live in the greater Boston area where there's so much research. A lot of our hospitals and clinics really do want to cure this disease, or at least find something that can help people live with the disease much better, and be able to manage the symptoms. Right now, there's a few medications that can help some people, just to kind of maintain a little longer. But it's something that we really want to find a cure for, or something that's a disease-altering treatment. So right now, I don't know that I could comment on any one particular type of research,
Right.
But if people are interested in learning more about what kind of research is available to them in this area and want to get involved or just learn about what's happening, we do have a program that's called Trial Match. And, long story short, basically people would fill out a profile about who they are and family history, any symptoms or no symptoms. They look for anybody and everybody to take part in this. So then it would bounce back with what types of research you kind of pre-qualify for. And then it's up to that person to take that and go with it if they'd like, or they can just read about what's happening in their area. It's so important. The research is what's going to move us forward with finding a cure or a disease-altering treatment. And I think the two biggest issues that researchers are faced with is lack of funding and lack of people involved. So it's so important that people realize that they can be a part of this change, and you might be one person that gets involved, that this is who helps crack this.
Yeah.
So it's so important.
Wow. We don't realize what one person can do, or, there is so much that goes into trying to find an end or a cure, or something that will help the general population.
Absolutely.
And it's great to know that the Alzheimer's Association is there and spearheading, what is going on. And I think, well, we mentioned that it's a 24-hour hotline that people can call. And if they call that, what would happen, let's say?
Sure. So I always tell people it's the best first call that you can make, even if you don't know why you're calling. We get that all the time. People just say, I was told to call you and I don't really know what you do. That's okay. We'll help people figure out what their needs are. And mainly it's, let's hear a little bit about what you're dealing with, and get you connected to the right programs and services that we offer, or community resources that are available to them as well. A lot of times it's finding how to pay for this as well, so we can help kind of explore the different options that are available to people to make make this as painless as possible, because it is really difficult, and it's not a disease that just affects the person living with the disease. It's the family and friends and the community around them. And that can go either way depending on how it's handled. So we want to be that support, that point group that can help them to make this better, and be able to live with the disease in a more productive way, so that they have those services and programs that they can get involved in. We also do have a lot of programs for people living with the disease, educational programs, and also social programs. We have something called Alz Meetups. And it's all over the state, where people can get together in a social way. It's not as much of a support group feeling to it. I'm thinking of a couple that are coming up at museums and plays, and coffee meetups and dinners and things like that, where people can just get together with other people that are living with the disease and not feel that stigma, because everybody else is going through what they're going through as well.
That sounds wonderful. Because a lot of times people withdraw from society, withdraw from their friends, because they're ashamed that they can't remember a name,
Right.
or, I can't remember what I did yesterday. But to be able to still experience the things that you love, and, as you said, not feel the stigma and not feel afraid when they go out, that's a wonderful thing.
It is, and people have made lifelong friendships. I like to think that we're that matchmaker, I think, people find these friendships that they never would have found, that just make a huge difference in their lives. And withdrawing from the social activities is another one of the symptoms, and it's one of the worst things that people can do, is not continue to be involved in their day-to-day life and continue to be social, because they don't get the stimulation that they need in their lives. So withdrawing is a really big red flag, that there's something going on, and it's really kind of the opposite of what people should do. Staying involved is hugely important.
Well, it certainly sounds like the Alzheimer's Association, it has something for everybody who may be going through this or have a loved one who's going through it. I think one of the worst things is feeling isolation, that you don't know what to do, what the next step is, whether it's you yourself who feel it's coming down with something, or family around you, So again, it's an 800 24-hour, 7 days a week that they can get in touch with you. And I know there's a lot of information on the website, including the 10 signs of Alzheimer's. And I guess, again, making sure that your fear doesn't keep you from going to your doctor and getting more information and getting the help you need.
Right. And I do find if you feel that you're not getting what you need from your doctor, we can help get you connected to resources that can help get you the answers you need. Some doctors are really great and know what to be looking for. Some don't have as much background in that to be able to find the right answers. So give us a call and we can help get you connected to some diagnostic centers and help get you connected to the services that you need. We do offer care consultations as well. That can be over the phone, in one of our offices. It can be one person, multiple people, and it's just a way to look at your specific individual situation and figure out the best course of action for what you want to see. There's no one way that people can handle this. There's a lot of different ways, and everybody's family dynamics and who they are as a person is very different from the next person. So there isn't one blanket way to handle, how to plan for things and whatnot. So give us a call and we can help work with you. And all of our programs and services are free of charge to any of the families and people living with the disease that we work with. We're able to do that because we have a fundraising walk and private donations.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So there really isn't any reason why people shouldn't contact you.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed this, and I hope that people in the community take advantage of it.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us today. I hope you join us next time on The Learning Curve.